The first sale of the day was this Johari West button-up shirt in a men's 3XL tall, a great size for Johari West. It took about 3 months to sell and it sold for full price $30 plus shipping. This isn't a brand that I see talked about very much on YouTube, but it is a pretty decent brand. They usually sell in like the $20 to $30 range, depending on the size and the style, and they usually sell pretty quickly as well, so this is a brand to keep a lookout for. So number 2 was a Rain Spooner Hawaiian shirt in a men's 2XL. This one sold in 3 days for a best offer of $24 plus shipping. This is definitely on the low end of what I would accept for this, but I have recently been accepting more and more offers because I've noticed that it has been leading to more and more sales. So sometimes you accept an offer that's a little bit lower on something than you would like, and hopefully more sales continue to trickle in. So number 3 was a Nike quarter zip in a men's 2XL. This took 25 days to sell and it sold for a best offer of $12 plus shipping. So number 4 was a John Varvatos button-up shirt. This was a more basic one. As you can see, it just had like a light plaid in it. And this one took 6 months to sell and it sold for a best offer of $10 plus shipping. John Varvatos can do pretty well if you get the right items. I currently have a leather jacket from them that I have listed for $300. I've already had offers $150. So there are good items from John Varvatos, just not the more basic shirts. If you are going to pick up the more basic shirts, you're going to want to price them down. So number 5 was a Dixon flannel shirt in a men's 2XL tall. This one took 6 days to sell and it sold for a best offer of $40 plus shipping. So number 6 was a David Donahue dress shirt. It was in a good size, a men's 18.5 with longer sleeves, 36, 37 sleeves. And it sold in 25 days for a best offer of $20 plus shipping. I think this is one of the most under the radar dress shirts, David Donahue. You can find these in almost every thrift store, and if you're picking them up from anywhere to like $5 to $8, maybe sometimes even $10 if they're a better size and a better colorway, and they can still be pretty profitable. So like I said, keep an eye out for these. You can find them at most thrift stores. So number 7 was a Disney Spirit jersey in a men's XL. It took 1 day to sell and it sold for full price $40 plus shipping. This one was the basic one that just had the D on the front and the Disneyland spell out on the back, and it was new with tags. I posted the back picture first because it seemed like the more significant photo, and that's what I'll tend to do. If the item has a better back hit than the front, then I'll post the back first and do the front afterwards. So number 8 was another Dixon flannel. This was one that was a women's small. It took 10 days to sell and it sold for a best offer of $30 plus shipping. All of these Dixon flannels came from a few local buyouts that I did recently. I paid an average of $27, a little over $27 for the flannels. So one like this that I sold for $30 plus shipping, I'm pretty much breaking even on. And then some of the other ones selling, $40 and up, I'm making a little bit of money on. I'm just hoping to make an average of $10 profit for all of them. I think I picked up a little over 100 of them. So number 9 was a Wrangler Rock 47 shirt in a men's XL. It sold in 1 day for a best offer of $20 plus shipping. I found this in my Sacramento trip. I can't remember exactly how much I paid for it, but maybe in like the $5 to $8 range. So still a pretty decent profit. So number 10 was a Polo Ralph Lauren shooting shirt. It did have the patch on the right shoulder, and this took 31 days to sell, but it sold for a best offer of $60 plus shipping. The more unique Polo Ralph Lauren items are the ones that you want to look out for. As you can see, this doesn't look very basic, and if most people found this anywhere, they're probably going to pick it up because of how unique it looks. So number 11 was a Ruka sweatshirt in a men's XL. It took about 1.5 years to sell and it sold for $18 plus shipping. I'm actually really surprised that it took so long to sell, and this might have been an item that would have done better if I would have put the back graphic as the first photo because it was a larger graphic and it was more interesting. So like I said, that's the thing to keep an eye on. When you have an item that has a better back graphic than the front graphic, you might want to post that as your first picture on eBay. So number 12 was a pair of vintage Levi's Silver Tab jeans. These were the loose fit. These took about 4 months to sell and they sold for a best offer of $18 plus shipping. If they were in better condition, they would have sold in the $30 to $40 range, but they did have a few spots on them, so I was happy to take the offer and get them moved out of the store. So number 13 was a Carhartt shirt. It was of more heavyweight snap button, kind of like a shacket. and it took 34 days to sell, and it sold for a best offer of $25 plus shipping. This one did have some paint on the bottom of it, and I wouldn't say it's like the good kind of paint splatter. It was just like a little like few paint blurbs in the corner, so it wasn't really adding to the value. Sometimes you can get these Carhartt items, usually the bigger jackets, that have paint splatter on them, and it could even add some value. But these are the type of items that you want to be looking out in Carhartt, the thicker, more substantial pieces. Sale number 14 was a Polo Ralph Lauren rugby shirt in a men's medium. It took 3 days to sell, and it sold for a best offer of $30 plus shipping. I picked up a few of these over the past month or so, and they've been doing really well. The long sleeve rugby ones, you can tell they're rugby. They're a little bit thicker. They have that circle in the bottom at the end of the buttons. And like I said, you can just tell by feeling them that they're the rugby one because they're a lot thicker than a regular polo. So number 15 was a Stussy sweatshirt in a men's medium. It took 33 days to sell, and it sold for full price $25 plus shipping. It did have a few spots on it. If not, I think this could have probably sold for $35 and probably even a little bit sooner. It was Stussy, which is a pretty sought after brand depending on the piece, and it did have a good graphic with that checkerboard racing flag look on it. So yeah, still happy with the sell though. Like I said, it sold in 33 days for full price, $25 plus shipping. So number 16 was a Rain Spooner Hawaiian shirt in a men's XL. It sold in 1 day for a best offer of $50 plus shipping. I bought these in a bulk lot from one of my connections at the Rose Bowl flea market. I think there was like maybe 20 Rain Spooners that they had set aside for me. I didn't even look at the graphic of them when I was there. I just paid them. They were already bagged up, took them home, and I was actually really happy when I got them home and I started taking them out. This was one of the ones that I could tell was going to do pretty well as soon as I looked at it. I didn't even notice that the dragons were on it, but as soon as I did, that's when I knew it was going to do well. More unique. You don't see a lot of them with dragons on it, and like I said, it sold for $50, so it was a pretty good one. So number 17 was a vintage Pendleton board shirt. This is one of the best Pendleton shirts that you want to look out for. It has a spread collar. This one doesn't look like it does because there is a loop button at the top that you can connect to make it have a normal collar to the top. But it normally has a spread collar and it has the flat pockets. And the board shirts, like I said, are some of the best ones that you can pick up. This one was in a men's large, and it is odd because I don't see a lot that are solid red like this. But it sold in 2 days for a best offer of $60 plus shipping. And this one was new, unworn. It was still folded up when I got it. And I also picked this up at the Rose Bowl flea market from my same person that had the Rain Spooners from me. And I want to say I paid like 20, maybe $25 for it. So number 18 was another Dixon flannel shirt in a men's 2XL tall. This one was very beat up, not good condition. And it sold same day for a best offer of $10 plus shipping. This is one that I'm going to be definitely losing some money on. Like I said, I paid an average of $27 for it, so I'm going to probably be losing about $20 on this one, so I will have to make that up on some of the other ones. So number 19 was a vintage Gap denim shirt. It did have a little spot on the front of it. It was in a men's large. It sold in 14 days for a best offer of $15 plus shipping. So you can make money on Gap. If this didn't have the flaws on it, it probably would have sold in the $25 range. So like I said, there are items from almost every brand that can do well. You just need to figure out what those items are and go out to the thrift stores and find them. There's probably something from Gap in every store. So in every thrift store in America. So if you know which Gap items to pick up, then that's going to be really helpful because you come across a lot of Gap items if you're going to the thrift store often. Sale number 20, and the final sale of the day is another item from Gap. These are some vintage overalls. They're in a women's large, and they sold in 31 days for a best offer of $30 plus shipping. Like I said, another Gap item, not a brand that you think would do well, but If you learn what does well from every brand, then you're going to be a lot more well equipped when you go out to the thrift stores. And as you can see from the background here, my photo setup is not set up for overalls, so I shouldn't be picking them up. But I did pick these up anyways, so I had them sitting on one of those racks for a while. I don't have a death pile because all my items get listed every single week. I don't pick up more items than I list. If anything, I'd like to get some more items every week. That way I could build a draft bank a little bit better. But these were one of the few things that were kind of set to the side because I didn't have anywhere to photo them. Ended up just throwing them up here on the shelves in the garage and took a photo, and it didn't really matter. They sold anyways in 31 days for $30. So the background is not the most important thing. The absolute most important thing when it comes to listing items on eBay is the item. If you buy good items that are in high demand, it doesn't matter where you photo them. It doesn't even matter how you write the title. If it's a good enough item, you could just put 5 words in the title and it could still sell. So that's it for the sales though. So let's go ahead and jump into those numbers. On October 16th, we sold 20 items for a total gross sales of $744.73, giving us an average sale price of $37.24. The selling costs and net sales are somehow always inaccurate, so let me go ahead and show you guys what they really are. The selling costs were $241.35. The breakdown for that is $88.76 in eBay final value fees, $133.34 in shipping labels. That's a little higher than normal, but in the wintertime that can go up a little bit. The average cost of the shipping label is going to go up because you're probably selling more winter items, which are heavier to ship. So a lot more of them have to go priority mail, so that is expected. And then $19.25 in promoted listing fees. I promote all my items at 5%. 9 of my 20 sales today came via promoted listings, and I'm happy to pay those extra fees associated with those sales. So if we take away the selling costs as well as the taxes and fees collected by eBay away from the gross sales amount, that gives us our net sales of $469.79. We still need to take away our cost of goods. I actually just recalculated my cost of goods, and to be as accurate as possible, I think the best thing to do is use my past 3 months average as my cost of goods. I was before using my yearly average, which was $11.11. But I have recently been picking up more cost-intensive items that cost more. So I think that's the best way to do it, to be as accurate as possible and as transparent as possible. So the cost of goods that I'll be using for the rest of this month will be $13.21 per item. Going forward, I think at the beginning of each month, I'll recalculate it for the past 3 months and then use that average for the whole month and do the same thing the following month at the beginning of the month. Like I said, just to be as transparent as possible and be as accurate as possible on my actual profit. So anyways, if we use that cost of goods for the 20 items, that'll give us a total cost of goods for the day of $264.20. If we take that away from our net sales, that'll give us our net profit for the day of $205.59. These numbers are actually right about where I want to sit every day as far as the total quantity sold, 20 items. That's how many I'm listing every day. So ideally, I want to be selling the same amount. The average sale price is a good enough average sale price where I can make the profit per item that I want to make. And then the total gross sales, as long as we hit the right average sale price and the right quantity sold, then it'll hit the right number of total gross sales. And I want to be right around that $200 profit per day. So that's it. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If this is your first time watching, my name is Brandon, and I sell men's clothing on eBay, obviously. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 46 of the What Sold series. Peace.